Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make the pleated skirt that you have seen at the beginning of the video. This is inspired by Hooked by Lade. Shout out to her because she did the original piece for Vicky James. And yeah, shout out to her because she's the one who inspired this design, as you can see in the image. So today we're going to recreate the skirt. I reached out to her. She gave me permission to recreate my own version because she noticed that I did some changes to the design, and I am very glad to announce that she gave me the permission because she doesn't have a tutorial as well as a pattern. So if you would like a copy of the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops. Alright guys, as you have seen at the beginning of the video, this was my very first custom order and it is finished. This is what it looks like in real life, guys. Look at how beautiful these ruffles are. And it's pink on the top part, whereas the bottom part is variegated yarn. And I used about 3 balls to complete this part. This is a total of 12 rounds for the ruffle beat or the pleated design, as you can see here. I'll be attaching images as we go along. And yeah, I'm in love with this version. But I happened to receive another custom order and we switched colors. That's why I used this one for the next tutorial, which is the yellow color. So look at how beautiful this color blend is. This is a lighter shade as compared to this. This is more of a darker shade. And this is also a very beautiful combination for those people who love pastel colors. This is one for you. And if you would like a custom order, please go on my website. You can reach out to me on my website and place a custom order with us if you would like one of these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful designs. Yeah, I got another custom order in pink and I'll be sharing it on my Instagram. But for now, these are the colors that I am going to use to demonstrate that for the tutorial. And I hope you like this one. Make sure I give it a thumbs up, by the way, if you happen to enjoy or like this creation. It helps my page so much. So let's get right into the materials. For the very first version, I used pink yarn as well as this yarn, papatya sandae, but the color scheme was totally different. So for the tutorial, I'll be using this in color number 4, and then I'll also be using nako saten for the upper part of the skirt design. So the other thing that you will need, the yarn, I used 2 balls of this, approximately 1.5. So just have 2 balls or even more for the larger sizes. And then for this one, I used about 2. But you will need 2 to 3 depending on the ruffle style that you will need, as I will explain later on. So 3 to 4 balls should be enough for the pleated design or the ruffle design of the skirt. And then you'll also need a measuring tape, a pair of scissors, a darning needle, and the hook that I'm using today is a 3.75mm crochet hook. But if you can't access this and you have tight tension, you can go for a 4mm crochet hook. If you have loose tension and you don't have a 3.75, you can go for a 3.5mm crochet hook. So that's all for the materials, and let's jump right into the video. All right, so we're going to start off with our very first color, which is the plain yellow that goes on the upper part. And we're going to make a chain of 11. This is going to be the thickness of our waistband. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. And then we're going to make our chain of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. This design is worked from top to bottom. So I have my 11 chains here. I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook, which is this one, and place a half double crochet. and then half double crochet in each and every chain downwards. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. So continue to half double crochet in each and every chain. So we've come to the very last chain, and I'm going to place a half double crochet in it. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. So you will have a total of 10 half double crochets. Now you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work, and we're going to go into the back loops only of each and every stitch, and we're going to place a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop of the half double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all. So continue to do that, half double crochet, back loop only in each and every stitch. This is going to create a stretchy kind of feeling for your waistband so that it's not so tight. So continue to half double crochet in the back loop only for each and every stitch, and at the end of this row you should have a total of 10 half double crochet back loop only. So this is what you'll have. This will start creating ridges, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work, and you're going to repeat row 2 again and again, 1 half double crochet back loop only in each and every stitch, and make sure you maintain the number of half double crochet stitches, because you should be having a total of 10 stitches across each and every row. So you're going to repeat row 2 again and again until this waistband measures your waistline circumference without stretching, as you'll see later on. So the waistline circumference that I'm considering for this design is 26 inches. So I'm going to keep growing this until I have a total of 26 inches without stretching my waistband. So continue to repeat row 2 again and again, and I'll meet you back when I have 26 inches without stretching my waistband. So I am currently working on my last row, and this is row 70, and it's going to give me my waistline circumference without stretching. So I'm just going into the back loops of each and every stitch from the previous row, and this marks the end of my waistband. And if I'm to take a measurement without stretching, I should be getting my waistline circumference that I am considering for this particular design, which is a total of 26 inches, as you can see here. I'm not stretching my work, but if I stretch it, it goes way beyond, even up to around 38 inches. But without stretching, it goes to 26 inches. So as you can see here, we have a total of 13 inches. Now that I've stretched it out, it's a bit longer, but I had a total of 13 inches initially without stretching. So 13, and the fact that it's folded into 2, that is a total of 26 inches. So make sure you have that measurement. And now I'm going to go ahead and join my waistband into a round, because we're going to start working in rounds. So to do that, you're going to make a chain of 1 and we are now going to go into each and every stitch. You're going to get the first stitch on this side and then the one loop of the stitch on the opposite side and make a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull through all. Go into the next stitch and get one loop of the stitch on the opposite side, yarn over and pull through all. So you're going to keep repeating this until all the stitches are done. Make sure your slip stitches are not so tight because it may distort the length across the waistband at this point. So make sure your slip stitches are just enough. Don't use a lot of tension to tighten them. All right, so we are almost coming to the end. So you're going to go into the very last stitch here and then the last stitch on this side. So that way we've been joining the foundation chain to the very last row. And this is going to be the wrong side of your work. If you're a very attentive person who pays attention to detail, this is going to be the wrong side of your work, the one with the bump of the slip stitches. So when it comes to the front side, you're going to have something that looks like this, that doesn't have that bump. So after joining, we are now going to start working in rounds, and you're going to turn your work onto the right side, as you can see here. So you're going to get this loop and make a chain of 1. We're going to work around the waistband, as you can see, and the very first round is to clean up the edge as well as set the foundation for the body of the skirt. So to do that, I'm going to go into the very first row and place a half double crochet, and then into the next row I'm going to place 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2. I hope you still remember how to place a half double crochet. Then into the next row I'm going to place a half double crochet. Into the next I'm going to place 2 half double crochets. One half double crochet into the next row, and then 2 half double crochets into the next. So we're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll let you know how many stitches that I'll end up with at the end of this round. So you can see this. You're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back at this point. All right, so we're coming to the end of round 1, and I am still placing my half double crochets, 1 in one row and then 2 into the next row. And I think I'll place 1 here. So I've ended up having a total of 105 stitches all the way around, but do what you have to do in order to make it all the way around the waistband. And from here you're going to go into the very first half double crochet of the round, insert your hook and pull through all. That marks the end of round 1. You can see the work is still stretchy. And at this point you're going to need 2 stitch markers because we're going to start creating increases. The reason why we're creating increases is because for the beginning or the waistband of the skirt, we have considered our waistline circumference. That means we have to also start creating increases so that the skirt can fit comfortably well around the hips. So you're going to make sure that your seam line is in the middle of your work, as you can see here. And then you're going to get 2 stitch markers. I'll get a red one and a blue one. And you're going to mark 2 stitches on the sides of your skirt. You're going to also mark one on this side. Just randomly, just eyeball, and just make sure you have 2 stitch markers on the sides of the skirt. And now we're going on to round 2, and round 2 is going to be our increase round. You're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work, and you're going to do a half double crochet into this stitch. Remember, this is a false stitch. Make sure you don't go into this very first loop there, because it's not a stitch. You go into this one. You're going to go into that stitch with a half double crochet and continue to half double crochet once in each and every stitch until you get to the first stitch marker on the side of the skirt. So we are going into both loops, both the top loops of the half double crochet this time. We are not going into the back loop. We are going into both loops and creating a normal half double crochet in each and every stitch until we get to the stitch marker. So we are approaching our stitch marker, and you're going to remove the stitch marker, and into that stitch that had the stitch marker you're going to place a total of 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, and 3, all in the same stitch, and then you're going to mark the middle stitch of the 3 half double crochets you just placed. You're going to mark that middle stitch with a stitch marker, and then half double crochet in each of the next stitches once until you get to the next stitch marker. So you're going to go all the way across until you get to this stitch marker here. Alright, so we've reached the stitch before the stitch marker, and we're going to remove our stitch marker, and into that stitch that had the stitch marker you're going to place a total of 3 half double crochets, and then mark the middle half double crochet of the 3 stitches you just placed. And then from now on you're going to just place 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch until the end of the round, and I'll show you how to wind up. Alright guys, we've come to the end of the round, and I'm placing my last half double crochet stitches into the last stitch. So into that last stitch you're going to make sure you go into it with a half double crochet stitch, and then you're going to place a slip stitch into the top of the very first half double crochet of the round. Insert your hook and pull through all. So that marks the end of round 2. Round 2 is worked on the wrong side of the work. That means the even rounds are worked on the wrong side, and the odd rounds are worked on the right side of the work. So round 3, you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work. This is going to be a non-increase round. That means we are not going to create any increases. What we are going to do is you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work. Make sure you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round. And then, as I had mentioned, you don't place anything into that very first loop. That is a false stitch. If you place any stitch there, that means you're increasing, which we don't want to do at this point. So you start with this stitch here, not this little loop attached to the chain 1. Alright, so we're going to go all the way around. We're going to go all the way around, sorry, placing 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch. And when it gets to the stitch markers, I'm going to show you what to do. So 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch of this round until the end of the round, because for this round we are not creating any increases. Alright, so when you get to the stitch with the stitch marker, as we're about to, so I'm placing a half double crochet in the stitch before the stitch marker. When you get to this stitch with a stitch marker, you're going to remove your stitch marker and place a half double crochet in that stitch that had the stitch marker, and then replace the stitch marker into that stitch of the new round, and then go ahead and place one half double crochet in each and every stitch. That's the same exact thing that you're going to do when you get to the second stitch marker of this round. And then I'll meet you back towards the end of the round. So you're just going to go and do the same exact thing at this point that we've done here, and then come towards the end of the round, and I'll meet you back at this point. All right, so we've come to the end of round 3, as you can see here, and you're placing a slip stitch into the top of the very first half double crochet of the round. Insert your hook and pull through all. So that marks the end of round 3. Your stitch markers are still placed, as you can see here, on the sides of the skirt, and you can see how your work is spreading outwards to create accommodation for the hip circumference to make a perfect fitting for our skirt. Now from now on, we are going to keep repeating rounds 2, which is the increase round, and round 3, which is the non-increase round, again and again, and I will let you know how many rounds that you're supposed to do for the different sizes in my next clip. I'm just going to keep working rounds 2 and 3, 2 and 3, the increase round that creates increases on the sides, and the non-increase round. We're just going to keep alternating between the 2 rounds until we get a specific number of rounds that I'll be mentioning in the upcoming clip. So chain 1, turn your work, make sure your ori is working in the opposite direction of the previous round, and make sure you don't go into this false stitch that is created after turning your work. So you start from here. So just keep repeating rounds 2 and 3 again and again. Remember, the even rounds are the ones that create increases, and then the odd rounds are the plain ones that don't create increases. And then also remember that the even rounds are worked on the wrong side of the work. Those are the increase rounds. And then the odd rounds are worked on the right side of the work, and those are the non-increase rounds. So let me just keep working, and I'll be back to let you know how many rounds that I ended up doing for size small. Alright guys, I ended up doing a total of 15 rounds right from round 1. I have a total of 15 rounds, and if I'm to take a measurement, I have a total of about 6 inches. But I'm going to be recommending a number of rounds. Just look on the screen and see the number of rows that I recommend. But this doesn't actually matter because at the point of your hips, we shall have already started creating the ruffle design on this side. So just do the number of rows that I recommend within the video, and then we're going to start creating something totally different. So when you do the number of rows required, you're going to make a chain of 1, and you're going to cut your yarn and then pull through. Now we're going to start working in rows. That way we're going to create that V shaping of the skirt, and to do that, you're going to grab your yarn and your hook, and you're going to make sure that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row, because now we are working in rows. Now we're going to attach our yarn in this stitch marker, in the stitch with the stitch marker. Just attach your yarn there, and then we are going to do a total of 3 half double crochets together. And to do that, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all. That's how I prefer to do my 3 half double crochet together stitch, so that we don't have a very big bump here. That's why I haven't yarned over in the last 2 half double crochets. So you're going to continue to half double crochet in each and every stitch until you have a total of 2 half double crochets to the stitch with the next stitch marker. So you can notice that I am working on the side with this tail, and that means this is the back side of my skirt. So just half double crochet in once in each and every stitch until you have a total of 2 half double crochets to the stitch with the next stitch marker. So you can see I've just passed by that spot which has the tail or the seam line of the skirt at the back. And just continue to place your 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch. Alright, so I have come to that point when I have a total of 2 stitches to the stitch with the stitch marker. Now I'm going to remove my stitch marker. You can see we have 2 stitches here, so I'm going to remove my stitch marker, yarn over, insert my hook into the next stitch, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then insert my hook in the stitch that had the stitch marker and pull up a loop. You'll have 5 loops on your hook and yarn over, pull through all. So that way we have created the decrease that we had at the beginning of the row, at the end of the row. So from here we're going to make a chain of 1 and turn our work. So remember I told you we are now working in rows, so we're just going to work back and forth on the first half of the skirt, and then we shall come back and do the same exact thing on the opposite side. So make a chain of 1 and turn your work and do 3 half double crochets together. So you yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all, and then half double crochet in each of the next stitches until you have a total of 3 stitches left on your row, and I'll show you how to wind up this row. Alright, so we've come to the end of the row, and as you can see we have a total of 1, 2 and 3 stitches left on our row. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the third last stitch, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the second last stitch, pull up a loop. That will give you 4 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the last stitch and pull up a loop. That will give us 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all. And that is our 3 half double crochet together stitch. Now we are going to just go ahead and make a chain of 1 and repeat the same exact row again and again until we are almost out of stitches. That way we are reducing or decreasing on the edges of each and every row by placing 3 half double crochet together stitch at the beginning and at the end of every row. So just repeat row 2, just rewind the video if you don't remember what we did for row 2, and keep working that row until you run out of stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for my first side of the skirt, and then I'll come back and show you how to attach your yarn to work on the second side of the skirt. So let me show you what we have right now. As you can see here, you can see how we are creating this kind of V-shaping for the skirt, and we are supposed to meet at around this point. You'll see your skirt starting to create that triangular shape at the base as you keep working this row. So let me keep doing that and I'll meet you back when I'm done, when I'm almost out of stitches, and I'll show you how to wind up. Alright guys, as you keep working your row 2, you're going to notice that you have decreases on both ends, and you can see this arrow-like shaping on your skirt at the base. And I'm still going ahead to do my decreases, and at the moment I have a total of about 5 stitches in between the 3 half double crochet together stitches on either end of the row. And I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the same exact thing until I get a tip. So I'm going to do my 3 half double crochet together stitch at the beginning of the row, and then I have 4 stitches left, so I'll place a half double crochet stitch here, and then I have 3 stitches left. I'll do my decrease by placing a 3 half double crochet together stitch in the last 3 stitches, just like that. Now I have a total of 3 stitches left. I'm going to make a chain of 1. When you have 3 stitches left, you make a chain of 1, and then you're going to do a 3 half double crochet together stitch. So you yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the last stitch, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through all. And that way we have created a tip or a pointed part on one side of our skirt. This is the side that we haven't yet worked on, and this is the side where we have created that shaping of the triangle at the base of the skirt. Now once you get done with this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn at this point. We are done with the very first side. You're going to pull through and fasten off. So we are done with the first side. We are going to go ahead and do the same exact process for the second side. Alright, so for the second side, we're going to basically do the same exact thing. We're going to make sure we are working in the opposite direction of the previous row. And we're going to grab our yarn and attach it in the stitch with the stitch marker. Remember, this row was worked like this. The braid is facing this side, so I'm going to make sure that I am working in the opposite direction of the previous row. So I'm going to attach my yarn into this stitch with the stitch marker, just like I did for the first side. And then I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. I'll have 5 loops on my hook and yarn over, pull through all. And then we're going to go ahead and half double crochet in each and every stitch until we get to the opposite side or the next stitch marker, which is this one. So until you have a total of 2 stitches to the stitch with the stitch marker, just like we did for the first side. And I'll show you what to do when you get to that point. Alright, so I have 2 stitches to the stitch with the stitch marker. I'll yarn over, insert my hook into that stitch, pull up a loop, insert my hook into the next stitch. I'll have 4 loops on my hook, and then remove my stitch marker, or just leave it behind and insert your hook into that stitch with the stitch marker and pull up a loop. You'll have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all. So that marks the end of row 1. Row 2, you're going to make a chain of 1 and repeat the same exact process as you did for row 2 on the opposite end. So you yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, insert your hook, pull up a loop into the next stitch. So we have 4 loops on our hook, insert your hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. You have a total of 5 loops on your hook and yarn over, pull through all. So that's our 3 half double crochet together stitch at the beginning of row 2. and you're going to make 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch until you have a total of 3 stitches left on your row, and then you'll place your 3 half double crochet together stitch at the end of the row, and then you will repeat this row again and again until you run out of stitches, just like we did for our very first half of the skirt, so that we have the same exact kind of shaping both at the front and at the back of the skirt. So let me just go ahead and keep working this row again and again until I have the same exact kind of shaping for both the front and the back. So this is where we are right now. One side has already been shaped, so we are trying to create this kind of shaping for this side as well, where we are right now. So we are going to have 2 panels that are shaped in this same exact way. Alright guys, we've made it all the way to the end of the second side, and you should be having something that looks like this. We have pointed ends at both the front and the back of the skirt. Now we're going to go ahead and clean up the edge. Now when you finish the second side, you're not going to cut your yarn just like you did for the first side. We're going to go ahead and clean up the edges of the bottom part of the skirt before we go ahead to change or to switch yarn to the yarn that's going to create the ruffles, this yarn that is multicolored. So to do this, you're going to make, I've already made a chain of 1 here. So what I'm going to do is a single crochet round all around the base of the skirt, and I'm going to go into the very first row with 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets into the next row. That's what I'm going to do. 1 single crochet into the next row and 2 single crochets into the next row. So we're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets into the next row. Make sure your single crochet row is not very tight because we don't want to tighten the base of the skirt. So we're going to go all the way around. So after placing your first single crochet here into the next row, you're going to place 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet into the next row. Just find where to place the single crochet, and then 2 single crochets into the next row. 1 single crochet into the next row and 2 single crochets into the next row. Make sure your single crochet row is not very tight. So I'm going to go all the way around doing this, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the round. So when you get to this point, you're just going to remove your stitch marker and continue to place 1 single crochet into the next row and 2 single crochets into the next. You're just going to skip over this point where the 2 panels meet and go into the row. All right, we are almost getting to this pointed part, and I'm going to just place 1 single crochet into the last row, and then at the tip here you're going to find a way of placing a total of 3 single crochets at the top of that pointed part. So this is what we have right now, as you can see here. Then we're going to go all the way down, continuing to place 1 single crochet into 1 row and 2 single crochets into the next row. All right, so we've come back to the beginning of the single crochet round. As you can see here, this is where we started our single crochet round, and we're going to find a way of placing a total of 3 single crochets at the tip, just like that, and then slip stitching into the very first single crochet of the single crochet round. So that way we have cleaned up the base of our skirt, And now we have definite stitches at the base where we're going to attach our ruffles, as you'll see later on. So now we're going to introduce our next color. This is the color that I decided to go for because it has a touch of yellow, as you can see here. And I thought it would blend in so well with my already existing design. So this is the papatya sandae yarn, and it is color number 4. If you wish to use the same exact yarn as me, we're going to switch yarn, and yeah, I'm not going to forget to get the yarn from the center because this ball of yarn is crazy when you unravel from the top. Okay, so we're getting our yarn using the same exact hook. I'm using a 3.75, just like the upper part of the skirt, and I'm going to attach into the middle single crochet. You remember where we placed 3 single crochets? I'm going to place my yarn into the middle single crochet of the 3 single crochets we just placed, and then we're going to make a chain of 3. That counts as our very first double crochet. The first chain 3 counts as our very first double crochet, and then we're going to skip one stitch, skip one stitch, and into the next stitch we're going to place a total of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact stitch. That is a shell stitch. Skip one stitch and double crochet into the next stitch. Skip one stitch, one shell into the next stitch. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Skip the next stitch and double crochet into the next stitch. And that's the repeat for this round. The reason why we cleaned up the bottom edge of the skirt is to have definite stitches where we shall place round 1 of the shells or the ruffle pattern. So skip one stitch and then place a shell into the next stitch, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact stitch. Skip one stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch. So you're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the round. Alright guys, we've come to the end of the row, and as you can see my color has changed, and that's totally fine. That's exactly what we are looking for. And you should make sure that you end with a shell at the end of round 1, and after your last shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, you're going to skip over the next stitch. Even if you don't have a stitch here, just go ahead and slip stitch on top of the first chain 3 of the round. Just slip stitch there, and then you're going to go ahead and make a chain of 3 and double crochet in each of the next stitches. So we have 3 stitches here. You're going to just double crochet in each of them, and then you are going to go into the chain 2 space with a shell, which is 3 double crochets, as I had explained earlier on. 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the chain 2 space of the previous shell. This is what you'll have, and then place 1 double crochet in each of the next stitches before the stand-alone double crochet. So the stand-alone double crochet we are talking about is this one in between the 2 shells. So you're going to go ahead and place a front post double crochet into that stand-alone double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next stitches until you get to the chain 2 space. So for now we have 3 stitches, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell, which is 3 double crochets. Sorry, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So after your shell into the chain 2 space, you're going to go into each of the next stitches, placing 1 double crochet into each until you get to the standalone double crochet, which is this one, and that one will get a front post double crochet. So you push the stitch to the front and place a double crochet. That's a front post double crochet. This is going to start creating ridges, as you can see here. So you're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 double crochet in each of the next double crochets. Into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Just like that, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next double crochets until you get to the stand alone double crochet, which will get a front post double crochet. So remember, we are working this pattern on the right side of the work only. Once you get to the ruffles, we are only working them on the right side of the work. So I'm going to keep repeating this all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of my round. This is what your work will look like. Alright guys, we are coming to the end of round 2, and as you can see, I'm placing my double crochet stitches into the stitches below, and then into the chain 2 space I am placing a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. And then 1 double crochet in each of the next double crochets before the stand alone double crochet, just like that, and then a front post double crochet into the next stand alone double crochet, then 1 double crochet in each of the next stitches before the chain 2 space. Into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell. This is our very last shell of the round. We place it in the chain 2 space, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next double crochets, like that, and then you're going to place a slip stitch on top of the chain 3. On top of the chain 3 of the round, the first chain 3 of the round, you're going to place a slip stitch, just like that. And now from now on, you're going to make, this is round 3, so you make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as a double crochet. We want to introduce a front post here as well, so you're going to go into that first double crochet of the previous round, the chain 3, and place a front post double crochet there, and then you're going to go into each of the next stitches. 1, 2, we're placing double crochet stitches, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we've placed 1 double crochet in each stitch after the front post double crochet, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next double crochets before the front post double crochet. All right, so we've placed 1 double crochet in each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. before the front post double crochet. You can see the front post double crochet is here, and you will place a front post double crochet into the front post double crochet there, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you have 6 stitches after the front post double crochet, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. All right, so this is what we have. You can see the increases are creating that ruffle like look already, but we are continuing to place an increase for round 3, and then when you come to the end of round 3 I'll show you what to do so that we can go on to our next round. Okay guys, we are done placing a shell into the last chain 2 space of the previous round, and we're coming to the end of round 3. I'm placing 1 double crochet in each of the last 6 stitches. This is the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So when you're done with that, you are going to slip stitch into the top of the first front post double crochet of the round, and that marks the end of round 3. This is where I'm going to end my increases, but if you want to go ahead and make a more dramatic look, this is the round that you're going to keep repeating. And for me, this is the end of my increase rounds. I'm going on to round 4. For round 4, you're going to start off with a chain of 2, which doesn't count as anything, and you're going to go into the front post double crochet at the beginning of the previous round, and you're going to place a front post double crochet into it. You're going to skip a total of 3 stitches after the front post. So 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to place a double crochet there. So we've skipped a total of 3 stitches, and then double crocheted into the next stitch. Now you're going to go ahead and double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. That will give us a total of 6 double crochets. As you can see here, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 double crochets, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. All right, after placing a shell here, always make sure you place a stitch into the very first stitch after the shell. It tends to hide behind the stitches, so you're going to go into the very first stitch after that and place a double crochet and double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've literally placed a total of 6 double crochets after our shell. You're going to skip over the next 3 stitches and place a front post double crochet into the next front post double crochet, just like that, and then skip a total of 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into the next stitch you're going to place a double crochet. 1, 2. You're going to continue to double crochet all the way up. You're going to have a total of 6 stitches after this front post double crochet, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. And then after that you're going to go ahead and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to skip over the next 3 stitches and place a front post double crochet into the next front post double crochet, and then skip over the next 3 stitches and 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And after that, you're going to place a shell into the chain 2 space, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. All right, so this is what you're going to have. You're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then a front post double crochet into the next front post double crochet. So that front post double crochet line has to be constant and consistent in one straight line. We don't keep moving it. So after this, skip over the next 3 stitches and place 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then after this, you're going to place a shell into the chain 2 space. So we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around until you come back to the beginning of round 4. And I'll show you what to do after that. So you can see how the ruffles are already forming and creating those gathers that are really pretty. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 4. So we've come to the end of round 4 and I have 3 stitches left. I'm going to skip over them and I slip stitch into the top of the first front post double crochet of the round, just like that. Now this is what your work will look like. You can see the ruffle is gathering and becoming longer. So what we are doing right now is to grow the ruffle to a decent length. So you're going to keep repeating round 4 until you get the length of the ruffle that you need. For my original piece, I did a total of 12 rounds of the ruffle, right from the very first round of the shell stitch. And yeah, that's the length that I got, as you can see in the image. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working this round until I get the length of the ruffle that I need for this one. In between 12 rounds and 15 rounds should be perfectly fine. So let me go ahead and keep working and I'll be back to show you what to do next. So round 5 is the same as round 4. You just make a chain of 2, which doesn't count as anything, and then front post double crochet into the first front post double crochet of the previous round, just like that, and then skip over 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and into the next stitch you're going to place 1 double crochet. Then you're going to double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches, which will give us a total of 6 double crochets after the front post double crochet. And then into the chain 2 space, you're going to place a shell. So from now on, you can pick it up from there and keep working the pattern and keep growing the ruffle design of your skirt until your desired length. And I'll be back to show you what to do next. Alright guys, I am through with a total of 11 rounds and I'll come back to the bottom part later on. I wanted to first come on here and I show you how to wind up the top part. Then you can decide for yourself how long you want the skirt to go. But for now, this is what we have. You can see how the flare out looks like. It's not so dramatic. That's because of my approach, but I explained earlier on, if you want more dramatic sort of ruffles, you know exactly what to do at this point. Now you're going to get your elastic strand and measure off about 6 to 8 inches less than your waistline circumference. So the waistline circumference that I am considering for this design is 26 inches. So I will measure off 20 inches, which is 6 inches less than my intended waistline circumference. Alright, after getting my 20 inches or an elastic strand that's about 6 inches less than my waistline circumference, I'm going to join the ends. So if you decide to use a thicker elastic strand, then you're going to just sew it together so that you can make a round. So this is what I have. I'm going to just tie it so that it's secure enough and then cut off the excess elastic strand. Just like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew or crochet around the waistband of the skirt while weaving in this elastic strand. That way this is going to be adjustable, but it's also going to be gathered to create that beautiful look at the end of the project. So you're going to grab your yarn. I'm going to use the same exact color as the upper color, the color of the upper part of the skirt, which is yellow. And I'm going to create a slip knot and attach my yarn. I'm going to turn it to the back side where the seam line is. Remember, the seam line of the skirt is at this point. It's kind of invisible, but it's there. So you're going to attach your yarn at the back of the skirt. And we're going to crochet around the top part of the waistband while weaving in this elastic strand, as you can see here. So you're going to just make one single crochet in one row and then 2 single crochets in the next row. So after placing your 1 single crochet into the first row, you're going to go into the next row and place 2 single crochets. 1 single crochet into the next row, and then 2 single crochets into the next row. One single crochet into the next row, and then 2 single crochets into the next row. So that's the repeat for this round. You're going to go all around the waistband of the skirt, doing this until you come to the beginning of the round. So as you keep crocheting around, you'll notice that you still have a long distance of the skirt compared to the elastic strand that you have. So once you notice this, you're going to just give it a little tug so that it can gather up a little bit. Just like that, and continue crocheting. This elastic strand should be enough to wrap around the top part of the skirt. So I'm going to continue to place 2 single crochets in the next row, and then 1 single crochet into the next. So you can see how this is gathering the waistband together. So let me go ahead and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round. So we've come to the end of the round, and I'm placing my last 2 double crochets into the last row of the waistband, and then I'll place a slip stitch into the very first single crochet. Sorry, 2 single crochets into the last row. I've come to the end and I've placed 2 single crochets into the last row of the waistband, and I'll go into the very first single crochet of the round, just like this, and I will place a slip stitch to wind up that round. You're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through. So that way we are going to have this elastic waistband, as you can see here, and it's going to create this kind of shaping for our skirt. It's going to gather it up, as you can see here. This is a gathered sort of waistband, and when worn it will create a perfect fitting. You don't have to worry about a drawstring or anything to hold up your skirt on the upper part of the waist or the high waist of the skirt. So after this, you're going to just grab your darning needle and weave in this tail. And then, as I had mentioned, I'm going to just go back to the bottom or the base of my skirt and keep lengthening until I get the length of the skirt that I need for my design. Now, this is going to be a personal preference. This is my personal preference. I'll do a total of 12 rounds, but if you want your skirt longer, you can go longer than that, or if you want yours shorter, you can do less rounds for the bottom part of the skirt. And that's basically it, guys. I hope you learned something new from this video. If you would like the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops. That includes my website, my coffee shop, and my Ravelry. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I can't wait to see the recreations of this design from your end. And when you do use my tutorial, make sure you tag me in your finished product. I'd love to see what you made out of this tutorial. So go ahead and weave in all your ends. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.